and it's got to be done probably at the local level. So in LA, what are the jobs that are being created by the companies there? What is the vocational training people need? The concept being that if you go through this, you're going to get a job.
Vocational training refers to training to do a job, typically some type of manual work. So people go to vocational schools to learn how to become auto mechanics, or how to weld, or do carpentry, or some other type of manual trade.
Another name for vocational school is a trade school, correct?
That's correct.
Also, so there are colleges, universities, and if someone says he or she went to a trade school, typically it's one of the blue collar jobs, like maybe a plumber, a carpenter,
right,
welder, secretary.
Exactly. And vocation can also refer to what's called a calling, where someone is attracted to a particular career because of some inner need that they want to express by doing the particular job.
So calling, in this case, it means calling. It's something that someone realizes that whatever they did before, maybe graduated from school to become a financial advisor or an expert, is not for them. They feel like growing and selling flowers, right? So that's their vocation.
That would be an example, yes. Typically it's used for people in religion, priests, ministers, where they become religious people because they feel that they're being called by God to help serve God.
And there is a verb related to vocation, or that has the same root. It's invoke, right? To invoke.
Invoke, yes.
Well, I know in programming you can invoke a function, which means to call a function.
Well, invoke means to basically call into existence either some type of greater principle, or to ask for some spirit to enter into the situation to have a positive effect in your favor.
To invoke God's help?
Exactly. Invoke God's help. Also invoke a principle that other people will recognize as being appropriate to the circumstance. So someone can invoke principles of freedom to help support their argument, or principles of fairness. And the idea is that the other people will recognize the principles and agree with the position because of the higher principles involved. A teacher might invoke teacher privilege when they're having some argument with their student. Or President Obama. President Obama invoked presidential authority when he issued the executive order. Depending on how good of a student someone is, they might make a choice between college or vocational school. If someone is more comfortable working with their hands, then typically they will choose a vocational school. If they want to become involved in more intellectual pursuits, then typically they will go to college.
Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories. The first story is about connecting the dots. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards.
Connecting the dots refers to taking different pieces of information and making connections between them to find or discover a better understanding about what you're looking at. it comes from children's puzzles where they connect the dots in order to create a picture, which they don't see at first, but once they connect the dots, they can see what the picture is.
So someone who is solving a problem or a puzzle is connecting the dots. For example, Sherlock Holmes, right? He used his deduction method. He was connecting the dots to come up with a solution or doing investigation of the crime.
That's correct. Also, people will use the expression connect the dots where they do not want to tell you what the conclusion is. They want you to reach your own conclusion, and sometimes because they might find it embarrassing or difficult to actually say what the conclusion is.
And also, if you want to say, I can make sense out of this, you can say, I can't connect the dots, right?
You can say that, or if someone wants you to tell them what's happening and you don't want to tell them, you might say, look, just connect the dots and you'll see what's going on. A lot of conspiracy theories do not provide actual proof of what they say happened. They provide circumstantial evidence, and then they invite the viewer to connect the dots and reach their own conclusions that the conspiracy is true. A lot of people are very afraid of accusing their boss directly of doing anything wrong, so they might tell other people to connect the dots as a way of avoiding responsibility for making negative claims against the boss. A lot of people like movies with plots that are easy to understand. Other people prefer movies that are more ambiguous, like Mulholland Drive or Citizen Kane, where the viewer has to connect the dots in order to figure out what really happened. ESL-fullsteamahead.com